Vice President Fielder, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Commissioner O'Donnell, are you on?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. All right, good afternoon, everybody. Time is now 1:31 p.m. Today's date is November 6, 2024. We are in the commission offices, the Bollinger Room, to be precise. This is the time and place for our regularly scheduled business meeting, and I will call this meeting to order. Would my colleagues join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Thank you, colleagues. I will note for the record that myself and Commissioner Bukacek are present in the Bollinger Room. Commissioner O'Donnell and Vice President Fielder are online. Commissioner Pinocci is excused. We do have quorum. All right, the Montana Public Service Commission welcomes public comment on any matter that is on today's agenda or on any matter that is within the jurisdiction of the Montana Public Service Commission. Are there any members of the public that would like to make comment that are in the room this afternoon? Any public commenters? Seeing none. Any public commenters online? I'm being informed there are not, so no public comment today. We will move right into our action items. Action item number 1 is the approval of the commission minutes for the week of October 21st, 2024. Is there a motion?
So move, Mr. President.
Approve the minutes.
Okay, I think Commissioner O'Donnell jumped in first. Is there a second?
I second.
Commissioner Bukacek has seconded. So we have a motion and second. Are there any changes, revisions, edits to the draft minutes for the week of October 21, 2024? Seeing none, all those in favor of Commissioner O'Donnell's motion to approve the commission minutes for the week of October 21, 2024 as drafted signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed signify by saying no. Minutes are adopted by a 4-0 vote. We will move into our work session items. We do have a request by staff colleagues to revise the order of items discussed today to move item number 3, which is docket 2021.12136, the Quest Corporation item, to the first work session item. Is there any objection to revising the order of the agenda? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and revise the agenda. So we'll move into the work session items. The first one we will take up today is docket 2021.12.136. This is Quest Corporation doing business as CenturyLink. This is on the Commission's investigation into the adequacy of the legacy infrastructure operated by Quest Corporation. We're here to consider approving a joint stipulation and settlement agreement in this matter. Mr. Sanders, I believe you're taking the lead.
Yes, Mr. President, I will be.
All right.
Thank you and good afternoon, President Brown and members of the Commission. I would like to begin by thanking the Commission for placing your confidence in the staff to negotiate a proposed settlement agreement to resolve many of the issues contained in this docket. In July, you instructed me to appoint and assemble a staff negotiating team to represent the Commission in an effort to gain a draft settlement agreement. I appointed Dan Poco, Mike Dalton, and Mike Sheard to join me on this negotiating team and I want to take this opportunity to thank them publicly for their invaluable contributions to these negotiations. I also want to note that we included the Montana Consumer Council to participate in these negotiations from the very beginning. I personally invited the Consumer Council, Mr. Jason Brown, to participate in the very first meeting, and he did, in fact, participate in the early stages of that meeting. In fact, he was invited to participate in every subsequent meeting, but failed to take advantage of each opportunity the council was afforded to represent Montana's consumers. Parenthetically, I will note that despite the fact that the telecommunications industry and telecommunications technology have changed dramatically in recent years, it has been some time since the statutory and regulatory environment in which the segment of the industry the Commission regulates has been modernized. It seems prudent for the Commission to consider opening a docket to consider the modernization of our telecommunications regulations, especially as Montana's 69th legislature will convene in January and will potentially consider modernizing Montana's telecom laws. With that thought, I will turn things over to Dan Poco to go over the details of the proposed settlement agreement. And with your leave, I will recede to go take care of other matters for the commission.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Mr. Sanders. Mr. Poco?
President Brown, commissioners, I'd like to start with a bit of background on this docket. This docket has been open for nearly 3 years. On December 7th, 2021, the commission opened docket 2021.12.136, beginning an investigation into the adequacy of legacy infrastructure owned and operated by Quest Corporation, DBA, CenturyLink QC, which is known as CenturyLink. On December 19th, 2022, approximately a year later, CenturyLink submitted a proposal for resolution of investigation and petition for temporary waiver. In that proposal, generally, CenturyLink offered customers on the Anaconda and Go Digital services in Montana $1,500 to seek alternative service providers. In exchange, CenturyLink requested a 6-year waiver of Montana Administrative Rule 38.5.33717B, commonly referred to as the Out-of-Service Rule, OOS Rule, or the Mean Time to Repair Rule. In the docket, after receiving the proposal, the commission allowed for further process within the docket, including a hearing. In the docket leading up to the hearing, MCC asked the commission to reject CenturyLink's proposal and instead require CenturyLink to apply for funding from the Broadband Equity Access and Deployment Program. After the hearing, the commission issued Final Order 7825K, declining to adopt either CenturyLink's proposal or MCC's alternative proposal, among other things. After that, CenturyLink filed a motion for reconsideration, asking the commission to reconsider the Final Order 7825K. In that motion, CenturyLink also asked the commission staff to be appointed to engage in mediation. Staff, as Executive Director Sanders stated, staff was appointed to engage in negotiations in an attempt to settle the issues in the commission's investigative docket. The appointed staff was able to reach an agreement with CenturyLink, and that is the agreement before you today in your work materials. What I will do is compare the terms of the settlement to the proposal. First, in the proposal, as I mentioned, CenturyLink proposed to offer customers directly served by Anaconda or Go Digital facilities $1,500 to subsidize the cost of alternative service. In the settlement, CenturyLink and commission staff agreed that CenturyLink will offer existing customers served by Anaconda or Go Digital facilities $3,000. Second, in the proposal, CenturyLink proposed that the commission waive Montana Administrative Rule 38.5.33717B for 6 years. In the settlement, commission staff and CenturyLink agreed that Montana Administrative Rule 38.5.33717B will be waived for a period of 3 years and replaced with metrics described in 3B in the settlement. Briefly, those metrics are threefold. The first is on a monthly basis, 75% of out-of-service trouble reports statewide shall be cleared within 72 hours with some exceptions. Second, on a monthly basis, 90% of out-of-service trouble reports shall be cleared within 240 hours with some exceptions. And third, all out-of-service trouble reports shall be cleared within 720 hours with some exceptions. If CenturyLink fails to do so, The customers who experience those long outages will be afforded the opportunity to receive the transition subsidy, the $3,000 detailed in the agreement. For the sake of comparison, the current rule states 90% of out-of-service trouble reports shall be cleared within 24 hours, with some exceptions. The settlement also adds metrics concerning how CenturyLink meets its repair commitments, and that is in section 3D. That met commitments is that on a monthly basis, CenturyLink will meet 80% repair commitments on a statewide basis, with some exceptions. Also, the settlement requires comprehensive reporting in addition to the reporting required by Final Order 7825K, where the commission required CenturyLink to report the out-of-service trouble reports it was experiencing. Finally, on page 3 of the settlement.
I'm sorry, Mr. Poco, can you, to interrupt, say that again, what you just said about requiring the reporting for out of service?
Yep. The settlement requires comprehensive reporting in addition to the reporting required by Final Order 7825K. In the settlement, one moment, please. That is detailed in subpart 3E. The commission will also have the right to determine what data is necessary to report in a potential order approving the settlement. So the details of the reporting will be added to any subsequent order of the commission. Finally, on page 3 of the settlement, on the bottom of the page, the parties do believe that the stipulation will result in substantially greater and more certain benefits to CenturyLink customers than litigation. If the commission approves the settlement, the commission will issue an order memorializing its approval. I would also like to thank the commission for allowing advocacy staff to engage in the negotiations, including Mike Dalton, Mike Sheard, and David Sanders. I want to thank them for all their hard work in these matters. And I'd also like to thank the CenturyLink representatives who participated in the settlement. Staff recommends that the commission approve the settlement and direct staff to memorialize approval of the settlement in an order. We're open for questions.
All right, thank you, Mr. Poco. Mr. Sheard, anything to offer?
President Brown, Commissioners, I don't have anything. I think Dan did a great job, and I would also like to thank him for sort of leading the process and moving us in the same direction.
All right, Mr. Dalton, anything to offer?
Mr. President, no, I think I would just echo what Mike Sheard has just said, just thanking everyone involved. And I don't have anything to add at this time, but I'm available for questions.
All right, thank you. All right, colleagues, is there a motion? Commissioner Bukacek?
I make a motion to approve the joint stipulation and settlement agreement and instruct staff to draft a final order memorializing.
All right, I will second. We have motion and second. Discussion, Commissioner Bukacek?
I just wanted to echo the appreciation for the diligent work that was done by the negotiating team. And I also want to thank those individuals that worked with me one-on-one to give me an understanding of some of the complex and, may I say, thorny nuances. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner Bukacek. Additional discussion?
Yes.
Vice President Fielder. Vice President Fielder.
Thank you, Mr. President. A few
ahead.
questions for staff. I agree that it looks like staff's worked hard on this and come back with a offer for the customers that is much more attractive than the original offer that CenturyLink made. A couple questions I didn't see answers to in the draft order or the memo, and one was there's a eligible customer definition in there, but it's still unclear to me whether an eligible customer means an individual or a business that might have multiple accounts and lines on their property. For example, a resident that has a residential line, but then maybe they've got an outbuilding where they process, their ag products or something that has a separate line for their business. Can staff tell me whether there is a definition that would address that in place yet, or if we need to refine this by adding that kind of a definition?
President Brown, Vice President Fielder. An eligible customer is defined on page 4 of the settlement. An eligible customer is an existing CenturyLink local exchange voice customer as of October 15th, 2024, served by Anaconda or Go Digital facilities. So any customer that is served by those particular facilities are eligible customers. Also in that paragraph, CenturyLink estimates that there are currently 405 eligible customers in Montana.
Okay. Yeah, I read that. I don't think that still leaves a question. And I talked to one of the customers over there that had the question and said, what does this mean? We have 3 lines on our property. They have 3 different accounts, but they all get billed to the same person. So, I think we probably need to have some better clarity on that one, on behalf of the customers. And then another question I had was, initially CenturyLink had, well, basically in that same paragraph, CenturyLink will offer a one-time payment of $3,000 to eligible customers. When we had a hearing on this original proposal from CenturyLink and they were offering $1,500, we determined that what they meant by that was they were going to send gift cards. Was there any discussion or any detail associated with the form of payment that CenturyLink will provide to the eligible customers?
President Brown, Vice President Fielder, there was not a discussion about what I will say is the terms of the settlement, joint stipulation settlement should speak for itself generally, and within that settlement, joint stipulation settlement agreement, there is no discussion of the form of payment to customers.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, there wasn't in their first proposal either. We found out, that they were planning on gift cards by commissioner questions to the witness. And that didn't seem like a very suitable way to pay customers, especially since they know who they are, they have their name, address, billing address. Seem the more prudent and standard way of doing business would be to send them a check made out to them so somebody couldn't get a hold of their gift card in the mail, steal it from the mailbox and use it or something like that. So there was some concerns raised about using gift cards. I'd like to see that addressed more clearly too, so that customers, we know who the eligible customers really are, if they have multiple accounts, and what form of payment will be described here. I know these are details. You guys did a lot of work, and I think all the work is good, but I think we should have these details included to make sure that everyone knows what the actual terms are and there's no confusion later or disagreement later. My next question is, have we received any public input from the affected customers on this proposed offer?
President Brown, Vice President Fielder, from my understanding and the rest of the work team's understanding is no, we have not received any input. We received input originally right around the time that CenturyLink made their original proposal, approximately in December of 2022 and thereafter leading up to the hearing. However, we have not heard any feedback and received public comment to my knowledge about the current settlement.
Yeah, I would feel better if we heard from affected customers before we go ahead and decide on this. I noticed there's some timeframes built into this settlement too that anticipate if the if the joint stipulation is approved by the commission on or before January 1st, then eligible customers would have until September 1st to accept the subsidy offer. And if the joint stipulation is approved by the commission after January 1st, then eligible customers would have 8 months from that point to accept the subsidy offer. So apparently staff built some things in here, staff and or the other parties involved built some timeframes in here, and not just assuming that it would come up and be immediately passed by the commission. Am I correct in that?
President Brown, Vice President Fielder. Those timelines were included just to ensure that customers would have the same amount of time to accept the offer, whether it was approved on or before January 1st or after that date.
Okay.
Those dates are in there in order. January 1st to September 1st was included in there as specific timelines, but there are alternative timelines, as you mentioned.
Okay.
The event
So
is
I
approved
guess
afterwards.
the big question I have then is, would there be any harm or problems with putting this decision off for a few weeks and going out and asking the customers for their thoughts on it before we actually take action on it?
President Brown, Vice President Fielder. Customers have been, the stipulation settlement has been on the commission's website, publicly noticed before this meeting since late last week, I believe.
Mr. Polko, just my question is, would there be any harm in putting this off for a few weeks and going out and actively seeking input from affected customers so we can hear from them and know if they think this is a good deal? It seems like the deal was worked on, with certain parties at the table, but I just don't hear or see anything that says that we've gone out and actually asked the customers if they think this is acceptable or not. And we're going to make a decision that directly affects them. So I think we should hear from them and know if they think this is, the right thing for us to be able to do, especially in light of the fact that the Montana Consumer Council has been absent in representing the customers in this. I just feel uncomfortable approving something quickly unless we have to. And so my question is there any harm? Would it jeopardize the settlement agreement if we were to wait a few weeks and go get some input?
President Brown, Vice President Fielder, certainly if that's within your prerogative to defer this work session. However, as I noted previously, comments were solicited and provided by interested customers and customers who had initially commented on this docket near the opening of this docket, and where they were commenting on the previous proposal. Some of those comments, while not part of the record of this docket, discussed comfortability with the costs and cost of replacement. So there was feedback that was received by the commission and commission staff through those public comments initially that were certainly part of consideration.
Okay, thank you. So you think staff believes that they've reached a number that would satisfy the public comments that have been given on the topic of the cost to, go to an alternative service?
President Brown, Vice President Fielder, that is correct.
Okay, thank you. Mr. President, I still think it would be prudent if we go ahead and defer this for a bit rather than I'm supportive of it, but I don't feel right about approving it without letting the affected customers, because there were several that had commented. This has been an ongoing investigation, and we have a record of who's commented, and perhaps doing some outreach and sending them a copy or a link to where the agreement is, and telling them that we're going to take public comment on it and schedule a decision, for 2 weeks from today or at some point where we could, give them an opportunity. to see the actual proposal before we vote on it.
Vice President Fielder, could you do that in the
Mr.
form?
President? Oh, go ahead.
Hold on. Vice President Fielder, can you defer to Commissioner O'Donnell to be heard on this first?
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to make a motion yet. I didn't want to stop, other conversation. I would like to hear what the other commissioners have to say for sure.
Okay. Commissioner O'Donnell.
Thank you. Well, let me defer my discussion of this. I would be highly supportive of Commissioner Fielder's motion to delay this for at least 2 weeks, probably 3. I noticed from the stipulation that it doesn't take effect until January of 25. So we're not up against a hard deadline on the whole thing. To answer her question of whether or not there would be any harm from delaying this, I think that's an excellent idea. She raises a very important point, and since we're dealing with the convenience and the accessibility of communications for these 400 and some people, I think that getting input from them would be an excellent idea. So I support the anticipated motion.
All right. I'll thank you for your input there. Commissioner O'Donnell, I'll come back to Vice President Fielder for a motion.
Okay, Mr. President, I move that, first of all, may I ask a procedural question? Would the proper procedure be to defer the matter and seek public input, or to table the matter and seek public input?
I think we have a motion on the floor, so it's going to require a motion to amend the underlying motion.
Okay. So I will move to amend Commissioner Bukacek's motion to defer this matter for up to 30 days and seek customers' comments on it before we bring it back up for consideration.
All right. Is there a
Second,
second?
Mr. President?
Commissioner O'Donnell?
Yes, I second. Thank you.
Okay, we have motion and second. And the motion to amend, is there discussion?
I hope it's seen as a friendly amendment. Certainly I don't intend to subvert the original intent of Commissioner Bukacek's motion.
Commissioner Bukacek?
And I
Can we
fully
do a roll call vote on?
agree.
Okay, I will recognize that at the time, but Commissioner O'Donnell?
No, I just say I concur with Commissioner Fielder's statement about it being a very friendly amendment. It's not meant to change this in any particular way, but to seek the affected parties' opinions on it. I think that's a very important thing and something that we should definitely do.
All right, so if I can ask a clarifying question of Vice President Fielder, if she'll accede.
Of course.
All right, so as I understand your motion is to defer this matter for 30 days to allow staff
Up to
and
30 days.
up to 30 days or 30 days?
I said up to 30 days, just to give us some flexibility there.
All right, so in what form do you anticipate Vice President Fielder having the agency give public notice? Is that by posting on the website? Is that by sending the proposal to those who commented? Can you provide some clarification?
Yeah, I think it would be good to be proactive on this. We know who commented on it, so I think our excellent consumer assistance staff could probably send an email, or that's what I would suggest, is an email, and of course use our website and press release. I know we've done press release on this before, so in any way that is reasonable, where we can help these customers understand that here's the offer that we're considering, and we're opening up a comment period for them to weigh in on it before we take it up. I would also like to work on tightening up the definition of eligible customer and what payment form would go to the customer so that that's clear in the order as well. I think those are two important points that came up from the prior hearing that we don't have clarity on in the way it's drafted right now.
So Vice President Fielder, if I can respond to that. So that latter point is not germane to your motion right now. The motion on the table is limited to providing an up to 30-day period for the commission to provide notice and seek comment on the draft. Certainly, you would have opportunity at a later point in time to seek revision to the draft agreement.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
All right, question for you, Mr. Poco, or maybe you, Mr. Hamilton, but I'll start with you, Mr. Poco. Mr. Poco. Given where we are procedurally in this matter, I believe that we have held in abeyance our original order. Are we working under any timelines in terms of reconsideration or filing litigation or anything to that effect?
President Brown, commissioners, no, the motion for reconsideration is on hold until the conclusion of the negotiation. My only comment to any extension is simply that there could be a change in the amount of eligible customers depending on who still is existing on the lines.
All right, Commissioner Bukacek.
I just have a quick comment. I'll be probably voting nay on this change. I think it's a disregard of staff's diligence and also a disregard of the fact that the public had plenty of time and Montana Consumer Council had plenty of time. So I will be enabled on this change. And I appreciate the team, the hard work, 3 years of work, and then the negotiating team for several months. I'm very grateful.
Yeah, Mr. President,
Vice President Fielder.
absolutely no disregard here for staff's good work on this at all. It's just we had a lot of public interest in this and involved a lot of public in the initial investigation. And the public had a proposal to look at from the company, and we've got a lot of comment on that and held a hearing on it. And now we have a new proposal on the table and we haven't heard it from anybody yet. So I just think it would be good governance to reach out and let people know that we've got this offer on the table and we're considering approving it, and we'd like to hear from them before we take action. So no disregard intended to anybody at all.
All right, additional
Mr.
discussion.
President.
Yep, Commissioner O'Donnell.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree again with Commissioner Fielder on this, and to Mr. Polko's statement that this has been posted on our website for a few days. I agree with Commissioner Fielder that we should be proactive on this and not just reactive and just say, well, we put it out there. The people have other things to do. They're not familiar with our administrative timelines and what we do. They're not anxiously looking for something on there and checking it every day to see what they have on there. I think that because we're dealing with a very, very important matter, and that is people's access to outside communications, in particular, as I've mentioned several times before, access to 911, that this is very, very important. Staff, I absolutely agree. Staff has done a very good job. There's been numerous conversations with all the parties involved, except for MCC, as was pointed out, which I think is unfortunate, quite unfortunate. I would very much like to have their participation on this. I think that we need to be proactive. We need to reach out to people who are otherwise unable to perhaps sit, in front of their computer and find out when we have come out with something. As Mr. Polko has pointed out, this has been going on for 3 years, and I wouldn't expect anybody to be watching for that whole period of time. We have to keep in mind, I think, that we are serving the public, and the public needs to be participating in this because it affects them very, very directly, deeply, and significantly. So I support the motion entirely.
Yes, Commissioner Bukacek.
My friendly comment is the public are also not familiar with the different things that go on in negotiations, and rightly so. It's a different process. That's my friendly comment. So appreciate your work.
All right, additional discussion before I make my comment. Okay, I'm prepared to act on this matter today, but as a matter of comity, since I've been president of the commission, I have always tried to accommodate and accede to commissioners' requests that we defer a matter if they are not comfortable acting on a matter. I believe that appropriate public notice has been provided in this case, but I will be supporting Vice President Fielder's motion if two of our commissioners believe, as they have averred so today, that they would like additional time and additional public comment. So I will be supporting the motion. All right. Seeing no further discussion on Vice President Fielder's motion to defer this matter for up to 30 days to allow staff to provide additional public notice and opportunity for the public to comment on the settlement agreement. Did you want a roll call vote on this? Okay. Signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed signify by saying no.
No.
Vote is 3-1 with Commissioner Bukacek dissenting, and this matter is deferred for up to 30 days. Right. Thank you, staff. Appreciate it. All right, let's move back into regular order on the agenda. So we'll start with work session item number, what's been designated as work session item number 1. This is docket 2024.10.100. HLH LLC. This is a general rate case. We're here to consider HLH's request to waive Montana Administrative Rule 38.5.190 in its recently filed general rate case. Ms. Fahowski, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. President, Commissioners. On September 30th, 2024, HLH LLC filed a general rate application to increase rates for its water and wastewater services. In its application, HLH is requesting an increase in its revenue requirement of just slightly more than $139,000. When general rate cases are filed, Administrative Rule of Montana 38.5.190 requires that certain pictorial exhibits be included in the application. HLH has requested a waiver of that rule. It's done so, as staff understands it, because it believes the details of its application are adequately expressed through the various statements and exhibits that it's already provided. Given the amount of the requested increase in revenue requirement, staff agrees that no pictorial exhibits are needed to help clarify the information provided by HLH in its application. Accordingly, staff has provided the Commission with a draft notice of Commission action granting the requested waiver. Staff recommends that the Commission adopt that draft as the Commission's final notice of Commission action and authorize staff to make any necessary clerical edits to the document before its issuance. And with that brief summary, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Fahowski. Is there a motion?
Mr. President, I'll move to adopt staff recommendation on the HLH request for waiver.
All right. I will second that motion. We have a motion and second discussion. Discussion?
Mr. President, I guess I'll just say that I agree with staff that and the applicant that this seems like a waiver of something that really isn't necessary in this case. So no need to no need to require extra work if extra work isn't going to actually assist in making our decision.
All right, thank you, Vice President Fielder. Additional discussion? As indicated in the draft notice of commission action, a rate case filing such as this may be waived by this commission upon a showing of good cause. I think, as the notice of commission action states, there is good cause under Montana Administrative Rule 38.2305 to grant the waiver. Additional discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Vice President Fielder's motion to grant the waiver of Montana Administrative Rule 38.5190 and to issue the draft notice of commission action as the final notice, signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed signify by saying no. Being no opposition, motion carries 4-0. Thank you, Ms. Fahowski. Easy day for you. Work session item number 2. This is a commission initiated matter. This is the annual pipeline safety rule update. We're here to consider draft notice of proposed rulemaking to update the incorporation date of the federal pipeline safety standards. It's become a perennial favorite of mine. Mr. Hamilton, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. President and Commissioners. Good afternoon. As President Brown just stated, the purpose of this work session is to consider a draft proposal to amend 2 administrative rules adopted by the Commission to incorporate certain federal pipeline safety standard regulations. Those rules are Montana Administrative Rule 38.5.2202 and 38.5.2302. As you can see in the materials in your binder for today, we are simply updating the date of incorporation from November 17th, 2023 to November 22nd, 2024. The reason for November 22nd, 2024 is that is the anticipated publication date of the Montana Administrative Register. By statute, the Commission can incorporate outside materials that exist as of the date that register is published. So hence the November 22nd, 2024. With that, staff's recommendation is to approve the draft notice of proposed amendment and authorize staff to make any non-substantive edits that are required for publication. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
All right, colleagues, I will move to adopt and issue the notice of proposed rulemaking to update the incorporation date of federal pipeline safety standards. Is there a second?
I second.
Commissioner Bukacek is seconded. Discussion? Discussion? I'll just speak to my own motion. As I indicated during my introduction of this matter, this is a pro forma matter for the commission to update our annual pipeline safety rules. So this is a ministerial action we're taking today that we do every year. So it needs to be done. So let's move it forward. Additional discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of my motion signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed signify by saying no. Seeing no opposition, motion carries 4-0. Thank you, Mr. Hamilton. Good work. All right, announcements. I would note for those that regularly follow our business meetings that we will not be having a business meeting next Tuesday, November 12th. Our next commission business meeting will be Tuesday, November 19th, 2024 at the regularly scheduled time. Commissioners will be attending the NARUC meeting in Anaheim, California next week. So our next meeting will be in 2 weeks. Seeing no further business to come before the commission, time is now 2:15 p.m. I will adjourn today's meeting.
Thank you.